Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
America will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
We came, we saw, he died.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is June 1st, 2023. This is Let's Talk About America. It's been a few days since the last recording. Today, the weather is gray as gray can be. Not a drop of sunshine in the sky. So, probably gonna sit around and do a bit of housework today. Collect myself. Anyways, I went to Serbia this weekend. Yes, Serbia. That's where your Siberian Huskies come from. Not really. Everybody always gets Serbia and Siberia mixed up, but two very different places. But I went to Serbia. The reason I went to Serbia leads me into, I hope to be the topic of this week, and that is healthcare, medical care, insurance, things that America gets a shitty rap for, and the rest of the world seems to float by and get some sort of undeserved credit, even though most places in the world have shittier or just as shitty healthcare as America does. And it's a pastime. You go to any major city in Europe and sit down and talk to the know-it-all liberal little kids, the little uni students. They all will, give you an earful about why America is broken because of our healthcare system. And they'll tell you all the virtues and all the amazing things about the different European healthcare systems, even though none of them have ever paid for healthcare in their lives. Their parents have paid for their insurance. Their parents are the only ones that have ever taken them to the doctor. They've never had to deal with any sort of medical situation on their own. But they've surely never had to deal with the American health system, which, to be fair, is a mess. But it is just a fun little pastime to sit at a bar, get drunk, and listen to the young 20-something know-it-alls tell you all the evils of American health system and all the great things about the European system. And personally, I've had to deal with what is supposed to be the best healthcare system in the world for the past 10 years. And it is not great by any means. I would dare say, and we have to distinguish between healthcare and insurance. So people conflate those two things. I think everyone in America can agree that insurance companies are fucking evil. They are parasites on top of the ailments that you're already going to the hospital for, and they should somehow be regulated in a sense, because at the moment, insurance companies are just fucking everybody and refusing to help anyone whenever it's time to pay up. I think everybody can agree with that. Now, healthcare, on the other hand, is the actual practice and methodology of the health system. So the doctors, the equipment that's in the hospital, how hospitals function, not the bureaucracy, but the actual medical care given. And this is where a lot of people get confused. They seem to think that because we have a shitty insurance system that is largely privatized, which helps to, make a few extra dollars here and there for the insurance companies. They confuse that with the actual level of health care given. Now, hands down, this is inarguable, America has the finest health care on earth. This is simply proven because anyone else, anywhere in the world that you want to try to use as some sort of measure of how great a healthcare system can be, if you're rich enough, when the time comes and you need some sort of life-saving surgery, you're not getting it done in Sweden. You're not getting it done in Japan or China. You're going to America, you're getting on a private jet, you're flying to America, and you're paying the greenbacks for some fancy doctor to pull up in a Lamborghini and save your life. That's as simple as it is. There is a reason that all the rich families in the world send their kids to American medical school to become American doctors, because then they can go back to their home countries and they can be the best doctor in the land. So hands down, American healthcare, the best. American insurance, very bad, very corrupt, very messed up, and has a lot to work on. True. Now, as I said, for the past 10 years, I've been dealing with what is supposed to be, you see it in all the yearly best healthcare in the world list and all that, what is supposed to be the best healthcare system in the world, and it is miserable. I won't tell you the exact country, but it's a very wealthy Western European country. The healthcare here is absolutely abysmal. Okay, first off, it's hard to get if there's something wrong, it's hard to get an appointment at any doctor, because you're forced to always go at first to a general practitioner. And lots of times you just wait. Maybe, you're hurting or something, and you can come next week. Well, by next week, it's done and over with. You don't know what happened. Well, when you get there, they don't care. You're simply an in and out, check the box patient so that they can sit down, log that you visited, reclaim the money from the government so they get paid. They don't care. I've never once been to a doctor in this country where they actually listened to what I was saying, gave me any sort of meaningful advice other than, just go home and rest. They don't try to affect anything, try to correct anything, try to discover if there's any underlying ailments. So it's just a completely lackluster beginning to your healthcare journey. And once you get past that point, if you get past that point, it's mediocre at best. If you get to go see a specialist or you actually need some sort of surgery, still mediocre at best. And you're going to be on a waiting list for a while, because there's an absolute shortage of medical care here. There's too many people, not enough doctors. So, and all the way, you're forced to have state supported health care or insurance. You're forced. Now, this country likes to brag that they have universal health care. They don't. They have forced health care. So you are forced to purchase it, even if you don't quite have the money to do it. Yes, the government will give you some money, but sometimes you don't apply for that. I, for a few years, did not apply for these subsidies, and it's hard to pay 150 euros a month sometimes. And if you don't pay it, well, they fine you, and they fine you a lot. So there were a few years when it was hard for me to pay that extra 150 a month, and I was a healthy young man, so I didn't think I needed it. So I didn't pay it. So after a couple of years, turns out I owe thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of euros for something I never used. I never tried to claim. It never even arose. It never even popped up in my life that I would have to go and use the insurance. But they backdated it and said, well, you didn't pay for it for the past 3 years, so now you owe these thousands of euros, plus interest, plus the fines, plus the cost of this and that. And they love adding all these different anyway. I never used something. Imagine if you all of a sudden got a bill for a dishwasher that you never ordered, you never used, you never put a load of dishes in it, never even was delivered to your house, but you got a bill for it 3 years later saying you owed 5,000 euros. You're like, wait a minute, I never even did. I do my dishes by hand. Okay, makes no sense, but it's the rule. So that fucked me. So I found, okay, we're back to my trip to Serbia. So my wife is from Serbia, and I have found that even though I pay my 150 euros a month in this country for my insurance, if I fly to Serbia, it is still cheaper out of pocket, and the quality of healthcare is much better because the doctors listen to you. They want to help you because, they work in a country where there are a lot of medical issues. So oftentimes they have more in-office practice. They've seen more patients. They've dealt with a wider range of ailments. They know what's going on, and they want to help because, there's a lot more sick people in Serbia than in the country I live. So they are trying to help people. Now, so the healthcare, much better. The level of attentiveness that the doctors give you, how they listen, even though some of them don't even speak English, and I'm translating through my wife, or it's just on paper pointing at things, they're paying attention, they're listening. And the price completely reasonable. I paid out of pocket, I think, something like 300 euros for full body work, full blood test, full everything, MRI scan, abdominal sonars, went to see 7 different doctors. I think out of pocket was 300 euros. First off, that would have been my copay in the country I live. Even though I pay for my insurance, the insurance doesn't even kick in until you've paid something like 400. All of those things would have racked up thousands and thousands of euros of bills. Granted, the insurance would have cut in, but I would have had to hit my threshold first, so it still would have cost me out of pocket more. But the level of care was so much better that, it was just worth the time and the money, because you can't just go and get an MRI here in this country. You'd have to go through 4 levels of doctors. All of them would have to get their cut. They'd all have to, and it would take you weeks, if not months, of appointments to get to the level of getting an MRI. When I just booked an appointment at the hospital in Belgrade, went in, paid the money. I think it was like 90 euros maybe for the MRI. Had it done within a couple of hours. Had the results back by the end of the day. Had free consultation. Have all the results, have all the images. So if something ever does pop up, I can provide those images to a different doctor in a different country. Overall, just an easier, sweeter system. Now you may say, oh, but Serbia doesn't have insurance. Serbia doesn't have some sort of standard healthcare. That's somewhat right and somewhat wrong. No, they don't have the nicest, greatest, fanciest, newest hospitals as most Western European countries or America has. That's obvious. They are still working with a lot of old 90s and 80s technology. Now there are newer hospitals. For instance, one of the ones I went to, it was fairly new. They were using some old machines from the 90s. I think the MRI machine was very new that I went to, but it was in a building that had probably been sitting there since the 60s or the 70s. But the functionality was there. Everything worked. It was great. And like I said, plus the doctors are a lot hotter. Imagine just like some beautiful blonde Serbian doctors walking around, in their little scrubs. Makes the whole environment that much more nice to deal with. You don't want to walk around seeing a bunch of old dudes looking at you all weird and asking you stupid questions. You want it to be a nice environment. But anyway, you say, well, the healthcare in Serbia cannot possibly be good. It's not great, but at least it's honest, and that's what I appreciate. It's honest, okay? Everyone gets healthcare. It is universal healthcare. Everybody gets healthcare. If you're working, then you get healthcare through your employer. If you're elderly, you get the pensioners' healthcare, which the government subsidizes. If you're a student, young, you get healthcare from the government, again, like the elderly. There's hardly any demographic of society that fits into a space where they're not covered by a government-funded healthcare. Even the ones funded by their own private company insurance, well, those companies, obviously, they are reimbursed by the government. So everything comes back, the government pays for it, and everybody's approved, everyone gets it. Now, you also have the option, if you're rich, of course, you have the option. You can buy whatever extra coverage you want, and you can fly to America or fly to London, wherever you want to go. But that's the reality anywhere in the world. So you can't fault individuals for something that no government seems to have figured out an answer for. Now, everybody has the opportunity to see a doctor. Everybody is going to get treated, I think, the same. And like I said, overall, it's just a smoother, nicer system. And for me, it was great. You know, I even went to the dentist, got my dental work done. I got dental work done that took me a couple hours, not even a couple hours, 2 hours maybe, hour and a half. It would have cost me, and granted, in my country, your medical insurance doesn't even cover dental, so that's a whole other thing that you always out of pocket. It would have cost me almost 2,000 euros to get what I got done in Belgrade. Cost me, I think, less than 100 euros and took 2 hours. All right, you cannot fault that. You cannot complain about that at all. So, like I said, it may not be the greatest system, but it's honest. It's not like the country I live in where they're forcing you to have something that you don't use. And whether you say, well, that's insurance, you know, you never know, it's for a rainy day. Well, some people do not agree with that. And to force them to abide by it is, you're not supposed to force anybody to do anything. And so that, in my opinion, that's fucked. Okay, everybody should have the free will to take part in anything that they want to take part in. American system is also not honest. Okay, you know, these insurance companies, they're scam motherfuckers. They tell you, okay, you're covered for this, and this, and this, and then by the time that thing pops up, oh well, you know, they'll figure out, they'll bring in a team of lawyers to figure out how to not pay, how to not cover you, and their whole goal is to take money without giving money. That's the business model of an American insurance company, and that is fucked up and dishonest. So this is why I like the Serbian mentality as well. Now, granted, also I used to get all of my dental work done in Thailand because it's the same concept. Go in, pay cash money out of pocket. They have great facilities. They have great dental doctors. So. But now I'm thinking, I'm going to switch to Serbia. It's just a bit closer, easier. You know, I can bring my wife. She can sit there and translate for me. A lot simpler. So my advice in the end is to all Americans, stop paying for healthcare in America. Unless, if it's something life-changing, like you need a brain transplant or fucking, I don't know, your arms got cut off and you want bionic Mortal Kombat arms, do it in America for sure. Okay, any transplants or, you know, shit like that, do it in America, hands down, no questions. But if you just need to get your teeth fixed, or you want a boob job or nose job, or, you know, you just want to go get like some tests done or MRIs or non-invasive procedures, go out of country, go to Thailand, go to Serbia, go to South America. It's cheaper. It's so cheap that you can offset the cost by buying your tickets and your hotel. So not only do you get a couple weeks vacation out of it, but you're getting just as good of health care for a fraction of the cost. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's a reason that there's a thing called medical tourism, and people have a bad idea of it because they think it's like, oh, you fly into fucking Venezuela for a kidney, which, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to knock it. That's valuable as well. But any other procedures, go out of country, take a vacation, pay a fraction of the price, and get what you need done. Go to Mexico. I mean, there's no reason not to. And if enough people start doing that, either it'll become illegal or the insurance companies will have to readjust and figure out a more sustainable business method. So that's my advice to Americans. My advice to Western Europeans who are getting butt fucked by their governments: stop fucking paying that shit. Either if you want, pay the bare minimum or use it. Use that insurance, all right? If you're paying for it, use it. Make sure that every year if enough people do this, if enough people use what they're buying, obviously the insurance rates will go up because that's the insurance companies are gonna want to make money. But at some point they'll realize this is not sustainable and they will have to change their business methods as well. But use what you got. If they tell you, okay, every year you have to pay 500 euros out of pocket and everything in excess comes from us, make sure that you are paying that 500 euros and then use every bit back. If you paid 150 a month, all right, what's that? 1,500. You're paying something like 1,800 a month or 1,800 a year for your insurance. Make sure you're getting 1,800 euros worth of healthcare a year. Use that shit. And my advice for people who live in these countries where people go for medical tourism, the Eastern Europe, South America, Southeast Asia, thank you. I would say fight for your government to make sure that you can have just as quality of health care as the foreigners coming to use your services. And yeah. That's my ramble for today. That was my weekend. I went and just did a bunch of medical stuff. Saw the sights. It was nice. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Today I just want to talk about why insurance is bullshit and why everybody should go around the world to take care of themselves. And take care of yourself today. We will talk again tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.